Hello, beautiful being. Welcome to In Her Dreams. And welcome to your reading. I'm so grateful that you're taking time to tune in to see what messages are flowing in from Spirit for you. Ashe. There's something that's about to feel very simple that used to seem complicated because you're trusting the value of your sheer existence. There's purity in just you being, existing, not having to produce anything, not having to become anything, just being. You're invited to experience the joy of your divine feminine energy, just allowing yourself to exist. And there is magic that happens in that space. It's effortless, and it goes against everything that the Matrix programs us to be and to do and to become. There will be a time where you shift into divine masculine energy, or perhaps a beautiful balance of the two. But this is about raw divine feminine, where you're resting. You're allowing yourself to do that without criticism, without pressure. Just letting yourself be. Thank you, Spirit. What's coming through for this beautiful being, Divine? Flowering. You see how the moon is behind her? But she's abundant on that lotus flower. There is abundance that comes from this rest, that comes from this, I'm hearing deprogramming of what the Matrix has told you to do, to overwork yourself, to always be productive. Because when we align with that program, there's this really deep essence of ourselves that we lose. And in that essence of rest, relaxation, not caring what others have to say, not caring about their judgment, not caring about our performance, not performing at all. When we're there in that divine feminine flow, we do create, we do produce, but it's a different type of abundance. It's one that just flows. And a lot of times this divine feminine flow will give way to the divine masculine, where it's like you rest and you just know at some point that you're ready to work, but it's restful work because you're not working from a tired space. Yeah. So your divine feminine energy is supporting you in your abundance. You're flowering. Yeah, playfulness. So just as I pulled those cards, I hear a siren. You're flowering and you're playful and you're like, this is the space that you're naturally gravitating towards right now. But that makes someone or a group of people very uncomfortable because they wanted to control your story. They wanted to infuse your life with chaos. And they were using toxic masculine energy to do this. I'm gazing into my sun poster. They wanted you in toxic masculine energy, where you were overworking, over planning, feeling like you were always missing something. And they wanted you feeling like you were always missing something because ultimately they wanted you to feel like you needed them. With you in this restful, abundant flow, they know that you don't need them. And they know that you don't need them. And that makes them feel small. But the problem is that they already are small. They're acting within small energy. They don't want anyone else to expand because they themselves have not expanded. They work from toxic masculine energy and they want you to do the same thing. They want you overworked. They want you tired. They want you confused, frustrated, trying to control everything and everyone in your realm. And you're just not. You're good. You feel good. And you know that you are good. They want you overworked. They want you to feel alone and isolated. Always looking at something that you would feel like you couldn't achieve, feeling like you couldn't manifest something, feeling frustrated because I just got to get there and I can't get there, and I'm so frustrated because that must mean I'm not enough and I'm not doing enough and I need to do more. Perhaps you used to be in a space like that, but you grew tired of it. You grew tired of the frustration. And so you relinquished whatever desire it was that you had to control something that was not yours to control. And you chose to bring your focus and your awareness to the space within you, the energy within you. And what you're noticing is that as you do that, as you nurture your own energy, whatever and whomever it is around you in your realm that you love, you begin to nurture them just naturally. This nurturing energy just flows from you because your cup is already full. Any desire that you feel at this time is a projection. Any desire, you're not even desiring anything right now. Because you know what? You're realizing that you are the abundance. You don't have to desire anything outside of yourself because you naturally attract whatever it is that's truly meant for you. Any desire that you have to control something, to become something that is not within your reach at this time, that's a projection. Because somebody wants you stuck in a state of desire, feeling like there's somewhere for you to be that you can't be. But why would you need to be somewhere when you already are in the right place? 10:10 on the timer. You already are who, what, and where you need to be. So even though there's somebody who wants you wanting and I gotta get it. No. You're beyond that. You're beyond the insatiable desire for success or for a breakthrough or for a relationship or for this or that. You're just finding it within yourself. If you desire peace, you're just getting it from within. If you desire abundance, you're getting it from within. You're connecting with your own flow of abundance within you. And what you'll find is that there's an endless flow of everything that you truly need already within you. And whatever it is that your soul wants you to come in contact with, to experience that you haven't already experienced from the energy within you, by resonating with the abundance within you, you are attracting whatever else it is that your soul wants you to experience. This is real magic. I just got chills. You're so magical. I love this. Yeah. Something is dead and gone. I'm hearing you put roses on the grave because you're at peace. You were ready to say goodbye to something. Confirmation. That no longer belonged with you. It was no longer your burden to carry. It was no longer your responsibility. To take on this weight. It's weight that you have released. Pressure. Longing. Yeah. Okay, so there's somebody who wants to lure you out of this abundance that you've connected with. This feels like bribe energy. This feels like temptation energy. They would try to tempt you with something that they know that at least at one time you valued, or it could be something that most beings value. It could be money. It could be sex. It could be connection. Not true intimacy, but connection. Just people coming together, right? Not intimacy, not revealing their truth and their raw energy to one another. Not that, but just a presence. And that goes back to this energy of aloneness that they wanted you in. Where if you do find yourself alone, you're still in wonderful company, divine company, with your ancestors and your spirit allies. So there's nothing that anyone from your past who you have made peace with the fact that they are no longer a part of your life, there's nothing that any of those beings can now tempt you with. But that's what they're hoping. And I feel like this message is coming through just as a reminder, just as confirmation, if you've been picking up on that, that there are beings who still want in. And so whatever it is that you do, whatever rituals, whatever affirmations, whatever it is that you do to connect with nature, to build up your energy, to remain in a high vibe state. Continue doing that, because it's going to keep you right where you need to be. Nose is itching. And I just saw 15:15 on the timer, so that is devil energy that somebody's trying to come in with, or they want to tempt you. It is the energy of temptation. Good news. I saw adventure here on the bottom. I keep that. What's this good news, Spirit? Apology. There's this pattern of like somebody wanting to come into your energy to apologize. They might want to preface their apology with some sort of good news. Okay, it might not really be good news. It doesn't feel like it. We're in minute 16. That's the Tower. Whatever good news this is, that's what's on the surface level. But underneath, there's a disaster there for this person, whoever it is. Could be several people, but they keep going back and forth in their mind, in their energy, wanting to approach you with some sort of apology. Okay, they want to present some sort of, it's the appearance of good news. Okay, in order to find a way into your world, to start something new with you, with the Fool card, the Fool energy, they really can't see beyond that, because they understand that your abundant energy and the abundance that you are connecting with within yourself is truly the best source of protection that you would ever need against anyone from the past coming back in. And so they're not able to plan beyond what they would do after that first couple of minutes of talking with you, because they know that just getting to that, just getting them to just them getting in your energy enough to even say a few words, they know that that would be exhausting. But they want to apologize. Now, the tears that they would cry, they would either be a performance, okay? So I'm getting the vibe of like Hollywood, Broadway. It's a show. It's theatrical, okay? Or they would come with actual tears that are a result of their pent up frustration and emotional pain and suffering that they have brought on themselves by trying to infuse your world with control and chaos. So in a way, it's trauma dumping, which that's been coming through in the readings, trauma dumping, and that can happen in a variety of ways, but in this way it would just be, I am so sorry. You know, it's like the kind of apology that you really want to tell the person to go talk to a counselor, because it's not your job to coach them through their pain that they feel because their attacks against you have been exposed. That's not your job. This person is not trying to pay you for your time, so what's in it for you? I'm seeing that if you were to give this person your time and energy, it would result in your vibe being lowered. And you would have to work to pull yourself back up into this abundant, playful energy where you're just being and letting yourself be. This person's motivation right now is how they see that you have come to love yourself, as you have withdrawn from their energy. They see that you're only glowing more. You're more restful. This person would put a shadow on all of that. Their presence in your life. But they're attracted to the work that you've done on yourself. That's always how it goes. When we heal ourselves and pick ourselves up out of the mud and muck, they come running back because they want another dose of our energy. And now our healed energy, which feels even better. You know, it's even brighter. It's even more fabulous than before. And they want to come in begging, pleading. But allowing this person in would lead to loss. It would lead to a cycle, a repeated cycle of the past, when you felt like there was something outside of yourself that you could not get, that you needed. You've reached a new level of abundance, of prosperity within you. And so you're not holding on, you're not grabbing for straws, you're not begging anyone. But see, that's the energy this person is in. And they're trying to prepare to do this, to come in. At this point in time, if you're feeling anything from this person, it's simply projections, okay? So as the powerful alchemist that you are, you can alchemize that energy, okay? It's yours to do what you wish. When they send you that energy, those thoughts, those projections of any sort, as long as they're in the spiritual realm, you can do what you want to with it. You can send it back. You can alchemize it. You can harness that energy and turn it into something that you want it to become. You can use it creatively. You can exercise it out, literally, like in a workout, you know? Something about Ronda Rousey's recent fight is coming through. She's an Aquarius. That could be relevant here. But I believe she knocked her opponent out in record time, or like very quickly, very quickly. I didn't watch the fight. But I did see a clip of her like fighting her. I saw a clip of her winning. So there's something about fighting this energy out. Boxing, kickboxing, running, something physical. But it's almost as if that's how you're winning this. In the physical realm, you're using that spiritual energy to do something in the physical realm where you're victorious. And I'm not suggesting any violence or anything like that, but it's the energy of, it's like, it feels like exercise. It feels like physical therapy. Okay? It could even be you soaking in a hot tub, going to the river, going to the ocean, maybe swimming. But you're doing something with your physical body where you're alchemizing the energy of these projections. And it's creating a victory for you. Ashe. Okay, let's see what's coming through here. Thank you, Divine. What does this beautiful being need to know? We've got stillness and romance. And I had seen at the bottom of this deck, when I was just pulling cards from the bottom, was eternal love. Now it feels like that's where the intimacy belongs is first and foremost intimacy with the divine within yourself, but also within a nurturing bond that you choose to be in, that you have selected willingly to share your energy. And you share your energy because this bond also nurtures you. It protects you. Yeah, nurture. Somebody wants to know about your secrets, how you overcame heartbreak as this warrior that you are. They thought that you would be stuck in a place of heartache and heartbreak. They thought you'd be weak and stuck in a state of weakness, but they see you living abundantly and in a state of joy. They know that you've processed some sort of lesson here because they see you transmuting negative energy. There's some sort of awakening that you've had within. What was meant to break your heart actually awakened you to your power. There's something about no longer chasing with this divine masculine energy and then chasing. There's something or someone that you're no longer chasing. And I feel like this isn't just the energy of the divine masculine or of the masculine that you're not just no longer chasing that. It's that you're not chasing anything. You're allowing it to grow within you because you're nurturing yourself. You're feeding your plants. Whatever it is that you've planted, whatever seeds that you've planted, you're nurturing them with sunlight and with water. You're letting that energy of consciousness come to you because you're resting and you're quiet enough in your divine feminine state, your restful state, to open up to this light energy that comes when we are truly at peace with our divine feminine energy. You're not chasing. You're not running after a thing. You're not running after a person. You're not running after a job. You're not running after money. You're not running after success. You're just being. And so because you are at peace with being, just the fact that you exist so beautifully in this world, that automatically aligns you to whatever it is that is meant for you. You are aligned with the frequency of success, with the frequency of divine connection, divine intimacy. And divine union. I'm getting that here. Union within self. And that's exactly how it happens. A lot of people get so frustrated. When will I find love? You don't find love. You vibrate on the frequency of love. And then you manifest love. Just by being aligned with yourself, with the divine within you. And I think that's one of the most frustrating things for people to hear, but it is true. And perhaps it's frustrating because it requires that we do the work to love ourselves and be at peace with where we are right now. Not stretching and reaching and scratching and clawing to get something or someone that we feel we must have, or that we need, or that we are supposed to be with. The most beautiful thing about the healed divine feminine is that as you just exist, you align. And as you align, you attract. Yeah, there's somebody who's depressed about this change within you, but look, you're aligned. And not only are you aligned, look at your chakras. They're all spinning beautifully, glowing. But you're also detached. And this is peaceful detachment. You're off smelling the roses somewhere. You're detached from desire, but that's what someone wants to stir up inside of you, is where you're you see how those nails are scratching him or her, them? That's the way of the past. There could be some sort of guilt that someone wants you to feel. Wanting you to feel responsible. I know earlier in the message, burden came through, that you have released a burden. But there's some sort of guilt that someone wants you to feel. And this could stem back to a wound that you experienced long ago, perhaps during childhood. Or it is in the past, but it could be a more recent past, but it is in the past. They want you to feel sorry for them so that they can manipulate you. But this is where our growth is put to the test. And you will pass it. You're already passing it. Because you're passing by anyone who tries to put any burden on you. You're not carrying their burden. You're holding each and every being responsible for their own healing. You're holding others to the same expectation that you held yourself to. You healed yourself. You chose to align with divine energy. They need to do the same. Their healing is not your responsibility. The shame that they carry is not for you to turn into your burden. So the work that you've done to support your spiritual nature, your spiritual health, your spiritual well-being, stand by that. Because there is somebody who wants to come in and put you to the test, but they want to do so in a very theatrical way. They want to present themselves as someone who needs you and your help. They may even try to flatter you and say, I see all that you've done. I see how far you've come. You're just so beautiful. Oh, they would lay it on thick. Because whoever this is that's coming in, that's their way. They only know how to love bomb. But you don't react or even respond to any of that anymore, if you ever did. You recognize that love bombing is an attempt to manipulate. It's a tactic. And you're not in a place where you are willing to play games on any level. Because you're too busy resting in your divine feminine beauty and energy, flowering, experiencing true abundance that comes from within, and you're playing. But this play is like, it's divine play. It's almost like, how much can I love myself today? How can I honor myself today? These are the questions you're asking yourself. What can I do to connect with the frequencies that are available to me? Nature, prosperity, love. How can I tap into these frequencies just by enjoying my own energy? What can I read? How can I relax? How can I nurture my body? These questions have become your focus. And you're no longer concerned with other people's tactics. So, get used to saying no. Get used to, you know, you can give that turn the other cheek another meaning. Let them see the other side of you. Turn around. You have no interest in discussing anything with someone who is still coming in with manipulative tactics and strategies. That's not how you roll. Ashe, let's see what awaits you, beautiful being, on your journey. Oh, growth. That one was flipped over. Yeah. Your new state of mind nurtures your well-being and it nurtures your growth. Yeah, acceptance. And you know what I'm seeing there? Is whatever needs to fly out that door is flying out that door. And the door is open, but it's not open to everyone. You can close it. And whoever's on the other side of that will just have to accept it. This is about acknowledging and accepting your boundaries as what's needed for you to protect your energy. You also got grace here. You're not getting out of your state of grace and flow for anybody. Because anybody who deserves a place in your life will respect your peace. They will respect that your frequency that you flow in is one of grace. And prosperity. And this prosperity comes to you as a result of your acceptance of who you are, you honoring the boundaries that you need, and moving through any discomfort that you might feel in saying no, or closing the door on someone, or not opening the door for someone. Prosperity is yours. And the way that you welcome this prosperity is you honor yourself. You continue to love yourself. Ashe. Thank you, Spirit. I'm so grateful for these messages, and I'm so thankful to you, beautiful being, for taking the time to tune in. I hope that you got something good out of this, whether it was clarity or insight or just some good vibes. That's good too. I love you, and I wish you peace. I wish you joy and so many blessings. Take care.